Good morning, everyone. It's February 20th, 2020. I'm Eric. Since this whole COVID-19 V201, whatever you want to call it, Wu flu, started, I've listened to an individual, Dr. Paul Cottrell. And recently, he has had callers from all parts of the United States. And they all have indicated that there is an active effort to cover up the amount of virus infections we have in the United States. And of course, we should expect this type of behavior. Dr. Cottrell is that this has prompted him to save our country. He is frantically trying to get people to call their representatives. And his intentions are pure of heart. They are good intentions. But Dr. Cottrell is trying to petition the very government that is trying to cover it up. That very people. What kind of sense does that make? So, indeed, there is an active cover-up going on regarding the spread of this virus. And, he wants to beg the very people that work to cover these types of things up for action, for knowledge, for numbers. The same people that routinely lie to us, well, probably every day. These people. He wants to get numbers from these people. Dr. Cottrell really needs to work on his cognitive dissonance. Because it's like this. I have some articles up. And I'm going to show you exactly why he shouldn't be petitioning the people who want us dead. They want us dead, okay? So, if they're going to wait until the very last minute to disclose anything, and by the time they disclose whether or not, or how many, or if they ever disclose the actual number, by the time that happens, it's going to be deeply rooted in this country. And this is the perfect opportunity for all manner of grotesqueries that come from government. And there's people begging for these grotesqueries. I mean, you're asking individuals like Michael Bloomberg, one of the I am not sure who's bigger puke, he or Trump. They're both pretty bad. They're both very authoritarian. But let's get rolling. This is why you shouldn't have a socialist nation, and we do have a completely socialist nation. Our nation is socialist, and anybody who tries to tell you otherwise is blind, delusional, filled with cognitive dissonance. Take that Steven Crowder, or whatever his fucking name is. For example, he'll go and set up these little booths. Socialism is bad. But then prove me wrong. Then in the very same video, he advocates for socialist institutions like military, like police forces, like Social Security, and so on and so forth. Corporate welfare. But hey, when people and individual families get welfare, it's a travesty. But Bernie Sanders is a great example of somebody that should not be in the business of making decisions for the rest of us. He has a long history, it seems, of pushing government takeovers of private markets. You know, kind of like the auto industry back when they had to bail out GM and Chrysler and the rest of them. No, not the rest of them, but the others. So, socialist ideas have taken a hold on some of the most progressive members of the Democratic Party, namely Senator Bernie Sanders. And people, you keep on voting for garbage. What do you think your country is going to turn into? How about this? How about you don't vote at all? How about you stay home? How about you ignore the politicians and the politics? How about you stop feeding the beast? How about that? But, you know, it's okay to be a little bit socialist, right? The U.S. economy is rigged and not in your favor. Oh no, not in a socialist country. You're not going to actually have free markets in a socialist country. You're going to have rigged ones. This guy thinks the public cannot identify exactly how the system is rigged. Shh, I have no fucking problem recognizing how it's rigged. Elites in business and government collude regularly to run the American economy to their own advantages and have increasingly done so for decades. Yeah, since the United States became a corporation, since the Federal Reserve Act, since we got a central bank. It is no secret that Americans have rebelled. Exactly how has Americans rebelled? His idea of rebellion is laughable. Get this. On both sides of or on both the left and the right, people have made clear their disgust with business as usual. For the Republicans, the Tea Party rebellion began to alter the established party, and the election of Donald Trump rendered that change nearly complete. Really? Really, dude? Really? The Tea Party rebellion began to alter the established party. Yeah, it did, and then it got taken over by establishment people and completely fucking diluted. But this dude really believes this shit. A comparable rebellion against established practice has pulled the Democratic Party far to the left. Polls show a common complaint that the system is rigged in favor of a self-serving business and government elite, and the people continue to vote for self-serving elites like Donald Trump. Can any of you say with a straight face that that motherfucker isn't self-serving? Can you tell me with a straight face that Michael Bloomberg and Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and the rest of these fucking swine aren't all self-serving? Every last one of them. No, I am not discounting Trump. He's a fucking elite. He is a self-serving piece of shit pedophile who has an affinity toward incest, it seems. People. Cannot believe how stupid people are. Okay, so that's his idea of, while the public cannot identify exactly how the system is rigged, it is nonetheless correct. Elites in business and government collude regularly to run the American economy on their own, or to their own advantage, rather, and have increasingly done so for decades. Public disgust and resistance to this pattern is entirely understandable, except there's no public resistance to it. There may be public disgust, but it's hidden. People keep it to themselves. There is no resistance, okay? Whoever wrote this is an idiot. Indeed, for all the disruption and frustration brought by this resistance, it is welcome. What disruption is he talking about? Though collusion might usually spring from a conspiracy, the economy's movement in this direction seems actually to have developed with little malice, and in many respects even unconsciously. Now, this line, the economy's movement in this direction seems actually to have developed with little malice. Little malice. Like the Rockefellers had little malice. Like the Rothschilds have little malice. Like Bill Gates have little malice. Right? Has little malice. All these people have an agenda to kill you. To render you infertile. To render you weak. Stupid. And they've done a good job at the stupid part. And I guess the weak, because this guy imagines that there is some kind of resistance going on, and there's not. However, innocently and naturally, these collusive corporatist arrangements have developed in the United States. There can be no mistake about their origins. The approach was pioneered in the 1920s and 1930s, first under Mussolini in Italy and later in Germany under Adolf Hitler. So this guy's saying that we have a system a lot like Mussolini and Adolf Hitler, but he's saying there is a resistance. Where? Where is it? Can you tell me? What? People get on the internet and, make videos and write articles talking about these things. Let me tell you, it reminds me of a song. There's nothing on top but a bucket and a mop and an illustrated book about words. Nirvana. There's a lot out there, but don't be scared. Who needs actions when you got words? And that's all that's going on. That's the only resistance we see. These people fucking have us killed every day. And if you fight back, if you have the nerve to resist, to actually resist, you're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. So here's the deal. Two interlocking camps, fascist, Fabian. Fascist wants to do things through violence and military might. Think police forces and your military and their use on the general population. And then you have Fabian, who prefers to do things in incremental steps, very small, unnoticeable steps. It seems that we've taken on the characteristics of both of these camps, because they do both. Our government has grown. It has developed three mechanisms central to a corporate or corporatist approach, meaning fascist. First, it has acquired an increasingly explicit social and economic agenda, and like Donald Trump, don't play right into that shit. Like they don't all play right into that shit. But somehow, some way, Donald Trump is a man sent from God to do the Lord's work. Like selling weapons to people who regularly behead and people who are starving millions of children, people who steal land that doesn't belong to them. But he's different, and he's sent from God. Sent from God. Can you believe the shit others, they really do believe? Can you believe that shit? Okay. Second, government presence has become pervasive because of its control over extraordinary amounts of contracting dollars, an ever-increasing regulatory structure and body of business law. Third, it has reserved for itself considerable discretion in how it spends its funds and applies its rules. Yeah, the discretion is this. We applied the rules to the middle class and the poor and give the rich a free pass on everything. And censorship of people like myself, I am straight up anti-government. Straight up. I am never going to hold the opinion that government does anything but cause harm, because that's all they're good for. But it seems that Facebook is now censoring people on behalf of governments. In this case, Singapore. On February 18th, Facebook blocked the page of an anti-government website in Singapore following a demand from authorities. And this is one of the ways that the governments they're going to use this virus as a way to clamp down on those who manage to survive, or those who manage to not get sick. And it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And this is why I tell you now. Sell your cloak and buy a sword. And do not waste any more time fucking waiting to see what's going to happen. We already know that the roads we're leading down, and they're branched off in many directions, but pretty much all of them, if not all of them, lead to needing a weapon. I do not need to remind you, but will, that there's a big food shortage coming. As a matter of fact, my wife, there was a bulletin at her job at a country club explaining that there is a shortage of potatoes, and it's going to get worse. I don't need to remind you that governments regularly, not just ours, but most of them, do things to cull their population. In our case, it's quietly done. That's where the term silent weapons for silent wars comes into play. They use things like radiation and GMO and toxins in the water and chemtrailing and vaccines and the medical system, and to shadow kill you, to do it silently. Oh, death is just a natural part of life, right? But some of these deaths, a lot of these deaths, are meant to happen. They've taken all their doctors' prescriptions, and they've taken all their vaccines, and they eat their GMO food, and they don't filter their water, and they do everything that, or they've done everything that's asked of them, that's demanded of them. So what resistance? Yep. Michael Bloomberg. How China is working to quarantine the truth about coronavirus. It's not only China either. Again, our very own people are hiding the spread here in the United States. They're going to wait till it gets so bad that this medical Patriot Act that's waiting there to be shoved through and signed, they're waiting for it to get so bad that this happens, and then you have to get a vaccine because, for the greater good. And if you don't, we'll send you to some re-education camp or a leper colony, but you'll be okay. CBS News. How Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice in Israel, thank Jeffrey Epstein. But Jewish American pedophiles are escaping justice by fleeing to Israel and automatically attaining Israeli citizenship under their right to return laws. Yep. And Netanyahu is optimistic Israel can use political pressure to shut down International Criminal Court war crimes probe. Of course they are. Of course they are. Are any of these war criminals ever going to pay for what they've done? Not unless we make them pay for it. Not unless we actually resist. Not unless we stand up and fight. South Dakota considers first state bill to outlaw all vaccine and medical mandates. Well, thank you so much, almighty leaders, for recognizing that our body is our own. Thank you. Damn it. Luck may be the only thing standing between the coronavirus and the U.S. stock market crash. You know what? I hope the motherfucker does. I hope it does. Bloomberg's rising polls show the power of billionaire narrative control. Yes, it does. And you know what? That's exactly why the system will never change unless we make it change, unless we force the change. That's the only way. Mexican national charged as a Russian agent after spying on FBI informant in Florida. There's all kinds of shady shit going on here, all kinds. Anyway, there are so many reasons, Dr. Cottrell, to destroy the system. There's more reasons to destroy the system than there is to save the system. And you talk about many of these reasons. Do not run to politicians to solve the problems because they are bureaucrats. They have no business trying to solve major medical problems. They're too stupid. I guess we'll see where all this goes, though, won't we? Sell your cloak and buy a sword. Kill the steak, live free.